Artistic Gamer 7 and welcome back to another speed build here on the channel. This is going to be another residential build that I have going on. I still am going to be doing community lot builds too. I'm just having a mixture of the two, and it just depends on what the sort of mood I am in versus how fast I also edit them. With this particular one, I actually did build it in Forgotten Hollow, so it does have a little bit of like a vampire inspiration. I do actually I've already actually moved it into my main world, so I think it's already technically got, like, there's already been like a small glimpse of it possibly in some of my episodes, particularly the Eevee family, because there's the one family that lives in Forgotten Hollow in that series. So there may be a chance that you've already seen like a brief portion of it if you watch that series and you've seen the ones with Umbreon and Misdreavus and you've seen their neighbors' houses, so you might have seen it there. Other than that, I haven't showed it anywhere else, but this, of course, is the actual speed build, the building of it. You get to see the inside and everything like that, but I did actually change it up just a tad bit in my actual main save, just to make it look even more Forgotten Hollow-like, because I was keeping in mind while I was building this, yeah, I was building it in Forgotten Hollow, and I do like using the inspiration of the world that you build it in, just to give you like a little bit more of a feel and try to give the house more character and make it fit in and all that good stuff there. That I also was mindful of the fact that chances are not everyone, if anyone wants to download this and put it in their world, not everyone's gonna have it in Forgotten Hollow, especially since Forgotten Hollow is not a very big world. So not everyone is going to use this in the same world. So I didn't try to make it like super vampire-y, but there is just some hints of the vampires. It mainly shows up in, I think, like the dining room area and then also the master bedroom, but other than that, it's not like extreme vampire. It's just enough to sort of implicate that there may be a vampire that lived here or once lived here, you know, that sort of old theme that the Vampires pack sort of had. So that is just the little bit of it, but again, I didn't try to make it super vampire. Like, in my main save, I actually changed the plants that you'll eventually see them that I put outside. I eventually make them to the point in my main save where they actually look like the plants, so they don't look as lively necessarily as the ones that I choose. And again, you'll see that here in a moment, but you know, that's one of the differences that I changed versus this one. I do still give it some pretty lively plants, just because not everyone's going to put it in the same world. And also, I did start out with this build a little bit differently. I started with the terrain, like, paint tool instead of like just building. I decided just to try maybe something just a little bit differently and seeing how it goes and sort of mapping out with the terrain paint tools how this build was going to be. And plus I knew that I wanted to have like a little section where the plants went and have the section of walkways and things like that. So it was a little bit differently, but I still really like how this house eventually turns out. It's probably one of my favorite houses that I've personally made. So I was really happy with it in the long run and really liked how it turned out. I hope that you end up enjoying how it turned out as well. Originally, the staircases, which you may have seen it when I first started doing the paint thing, because I did base this off of a house that I found. Like, I have a few houses saved on my phone from like Google that I use as inspiration. Of course, I don't solely base it off of that house, and sometimes I take features of different houses, of pictures that I have. So it's like multiple houses combined, or like I take certain elements or I save them because there's a particular part of that house that I like, and I just use it as like a base inspiration, but not like for the whole inspiration for the whole entire thing. And one of my favorite features was the fact that they had curved stairs going to the upper level from like the outside and the front, but obviously we can't have curved stairs in the game, so it was couldn't do that, and I totally forgot when I was like first like mapping out the area with the terrain paint tools, because I just really liked those curved stairs, and I think there was a part of me that was going to try to make something look like, you know, have like different levels of foundation and do the stairs that way, but I just decided to do it the simple way with these straight stairs. I still like how it ended up turning out either way, so I'm not not sad that they're not curved. I just wish they were because I would prefer them. I think the curved stairs look amazing, and I really wish that we actually had more stair options so that we could do like the spiral staircases, curved staircases, you name it. I don't think they've ever had it in a Sims game, but I personally really want like a ladder stairway option, and that's for attics and things like that. That would be so cool. Like the first time I really thought about that from a building standpoint was with my abandoned house, because I did build a little attic, and I don't think I have a way in the house to actually get up to that section, but I was just imagining that there was a ladder pull down somewhere that you can actually use to get up there. But obviously in actual gameplay there's no way to actually get up there. But that would be a really cool option, I think, if they ever did make a game pack focused on witches. And I say game pack just because if they ever did, I'm just going based off of the vampires thing, that it would be more of a game pack, because that would be, I know it definitely couldn't be a stuff pack, and I couldn't imagine that unless they did like multiple occults, like maybe witches and fairies or something like that. I don't see them being enough to make a full expansion. So that's why I say game pack. Where with witches, I feel like for some reason that would fit. I don't know why. Something like attic and like, you know, witches, that just seems like it would be like a good fit. I don't really know why. That's just my my thought process is for this at the moment. But you know, whatever, we'll just have to see if that's ever a thing, but I really would like that to be a thing. But anyway, back to the house. So once again, just talking about like the inside and stuff of it, I did keep in mind that like I was saying, I was trying to keep in mind the fact that not everyone is going to be putting this in the same world. Not everyone's going to be putting it in the Vampires game pack. And I know not everyone actually has the Vampire game packs. I feel like it's one of the ones that is really well liked, but also not used quite as much compared to some of the others, just because not everyone wants the actual vampires in their game and things like that. But when it comes to the build objects you can get from the game pack, I love some of the build and buy objects from vampires, so definitely highly recommend it just on the build and buy alone. But I personally really like having vampires. I like having the different occult sims, so like the aliens and the vampires in this case, just because it adds a little bit of fantasy mixed with sort of some of the realism that Sims has. So it's like a nice mixture of them. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked once again. But I did try to keep in mind that not everyone was going to put this in Forgotten Hollow. Not everyone was probably going to have vampires in it. And even if you don't have the vampire game pack, it's not completely vampires. So you can easily add whatever wallpapers and stuff that you want to. I do know I used the wallpapers at least in 2 or 3 of the rooms. I can't for surely remember right now at this point. I think I'm struggling to figure out the layout I want to do. Usually that's one of my biggest things, is like I try to figure out the layout. And if you've ever watched any of my speed builds in the past, when it comes to the residential ones, I struggle trying to figure out exactly the type of layouts I want for the inside of the house, just because sometimes I forget exactly like how big a room really needs to be, and a lot of times I end up making the bedrooms too big. Maybe that's just me partially wishing my bedroom was bigger. Maybe that's how I'm getting to that point. I just want my bedroom to be bigger, so I just make my Sims bedrooms huge. But, you know, oh well. But that's one of my struggles. But, so there is, I think the dining room and the master bedroom are the ones that have, like, the highly influence of the vampire stuff. And then the rest of it, not as much. There is 2, like, kids' bedrooms, and there's the master bedroom, so it can be 3 bedrooms. Of course, you can also change some things. There's a study, and you actually have to go through the study to get to the master bedroom and the master bath. This is one of the first videos in a while that is a residential lot that I actually don't cut any of the bathrooms out. I don't cut anything out other than the parts where I zoned out, because again, if you've watched any of my speed builds, I tend to be watching either some people's YouTube videos or I'm watching a live stream, and occasionally I'm watching like Netflix or something like that. So I'm usually watching something in the background, and sometimes I'm able to just either watch it on my other computer beside me, and that one's not as hard to do because it's right there, so I can instantly look. But sometimes I'm watching it on the TV behind me, and I'm someone who likes hearing noise, and that's part of the reason why I sometimes have them on, but sometimes with certain shows and things like that, hearing it is fine enough. I know what's going on, and I just take a quick glance, but sometimes I get really zoned into what I'm watching, and there's moments in my recordings when I'm doing speed builds where it's like a huge gap in between, like, my mouse just freezes in places, so I have to cut those parts out, but that's the only thing that's actually cut out. So, in this build, that's the first time for a while that I haven't had to cut anything out for a residential lot, so, and still get it within the time that I want it to be. Woohoo! So, either I'm just getting quicker at doing this, or, I don't know. I don't know any other reason, actually, because I still went into pretty good detail with this build, and I actually really, really like how it turned out. It's what, like I was saying, it's one of my favorites. If you want to download this, I should seriously mention this towards the beginning. But anyway, if you want to download this, this will be up on the gallery. If for some reason I've forgotten to post it while I have this video uploaded. I do know there is one build at this current time that is already uploaded on my channel that I realized I never posted on my gallery, so I gotta go fix that here in a moment, actually. But if it's not up there, just let me know down in the comments, like, you know, you're watching it and you really want it, and you either go check the gallery while you're watching it, or you go check later and it's not there. Just come back to the comment section, let me know, like, hey, I was gonna download this, but it's not up on the gallery, could you upload it? Just remind me so that I can put it up. Usually I remember pretty well, but as you can already tell, I have one that I have forgotten, so I do have to go and actually physically upload it. They're already saved on the gallery, it's just the point of me going in there and typing the little bio and uploading it. That's all I need to do, but I forget that sometimes. Blech. But oh well. But anyway, might want to actually mention the name of it. It is going to be the Cozy Vampire Cottage. Again, it's just because the fact that I did take some inspiration of it being in Forgotten Hollow, so I did try to add a little bit of elements here and there, and it is more of a cottagey feel to me. And it's really nice, and I really like this house, actually. I would be okay with this house myself. But, and if you forget, like, what the name of it is or my origin ID, that's always also on the description of my videos. My origin ID is ArtisticGamer7. I usually put hashtags relating to the particular build, so if it's a community lot and it's like a nightclub, I'll probably have a hashtag nightclub. When it comes to the residential lots, I usually just do sort of the style, or if it's like a cottage, or if I think it's more modern or whatever, I'll still try to add those. So I'll try to add as many hashtags as I can get in there, so that there's multiple ways for you to find it. So, and I usually also do hashtag ArtisticGamer7, because sometimes the gallery acts really weird, and when you go try to find something under someone's name, not everything pops up, or if you try to do it under the hashtag, not every... So I try to make sure there's at least multiple ways to hopefully find the build on the gallery. But you can always ask me if for some reason you can't find it on there, or you don't think it's posted on there. Always let me know down in the comments, and either I can go and remind myself to actually post it to the gallery, or I can help you try to find it on the gallery. So, anyway, as far as like this, like the build inside, I do stick with a lot of darker colors. Just, again, it's more of that feel of it being like, sort of this older house, and I feel like a lot of the older houses tended to go with darker colors, and especially if you pay attention to like a lot of the houses themed in Forgotten Hollow, they're definitely themed to be more older style houses, and there is a lot of darker tones in it. So I was keeping that in mind. I actually did know a family that I wanted to move into this house, so I did partially use them as inspiration, but not completely, because I actually edit this house even further. Like I mentioned, the outside and stuff doesn't get changed, and like the actual layouts and things like that don't get changed in mine. The only thing that changes is I actually added a basement and a way to get into the basement. So that is the main difference that I added into mine, and I changed like the floral, like the landscaping outside to match, to not be necessarily dull and ugly, but not to be as bright and pretty as it is in this version. But this version is the version that will be up on the gallery. If for some reason y'all want to see the other version, I can also upload that one, but that one will have CC in it, so you would have to enable CC. This version is not going to have CC. Do keep in mind that I do use bb.move objects when building my builds, so it's best to actually have that enabled when you're placing the lot on into your world and things like that. And I noticed also with one particular build recently, if you place it from the town screen, so like Forgotten Hollow or Windenburg, and you just pick a lot from there and you don't physically go and build in the lot, it won't register that BB move object, so you have to like click on the lot, say you build on the lot, and then do it. At least that's what I would suggest, because I noticed one of my builds messed up because I did it from that screen versus going into the physical lot itself. So I don't know if that for some reason did make the difference or not, but it did seem to lose a few pieces here and there. So I would suggest doing it that way just so that you make sure you don't lose anything, because I do use BB move objects, and I forget to mention that a lot of times in my videos. So, you know, but I do mention it usually in the description of the build up on the gallery. But definitely would like to hear your thoughts on this build in the comments down below. I'm probably going to start let music play for more towards the ending of it, so because I've sort of, without going into extreme detail, I sort of described the basics, and I don't think there was anything particular that I needed to describe. Because sometimes when I'm building these, I'm like, I need to try to remember to tell myself to actually, like, say this during the voiceover. Sometimes I forget, and sometimes usually I remember most of the things. But yeah, the main things was the fact that, you know, it does have a vampire theme to it, and words won't come out of my mouth. Real good quality right there. Yes. And also, by the time that I did do this one, Get Famous was already out. And I did start this build with CC, but again, because you may have seen it while recording it, there is no CC. I promise you there's no CC. So, yeah. And usually, so I know some people sometimes have problems with when they upload them to the gallery. I know Deligracy a lot of times has this, where it will say that there is CC, but there's actually no CC. I don't think any of mine ever do, but you can enable custom content if you go search my actual name to see if there's any builds. There are a few builds that I do have up on there, like actually uploaded, that have CC, but most of my CC stuff uploaded are actual sims and not the builds, because I try to do all my builds CC free, and then when I add them to my world, into like my main world, I will add CC from there if I so wish to do so. A lot of times on the community lots I don't, just because a community lot doesn't need as much personality to it, and that's what most of my CC is for, is to add different personalities for my residential lots instead. But anyway, let me know down in the comments below, what are some of your favorite parts about this build? Do you really like this build? Would you think about using it in your own world? Definitely would like hearing from you all. I think my personal favorite part is honestly the outside. The outside of how it looks. I do like the inside still, and I like the overall feel of the inside. But I think the outside is my favorite part. Like, when I see that this house in my world, I'm proud that I built this out. Like, I'm not actually visiting the lot. I'm just, like, at one of the places that are near it in my main save. Because, like, I have 2 played households, and then I have, like, the whole, vampire bar that's next to this spot. And when I see it, I'm proud of it, and I'm like, yes, I built that. I'm not seeing the inside of it, but I'm just happy with seeing the outside of it. I'm super happy with it. But I definitely like to know what some of your favorite features or parts of this build that I have created here for you. I am going to go ahead and stop talking here soon and just let some music play for the rest of it. There's going to be about 16 minutes left of it. Screenshots are for the last 2 minutes, I think. So in between 1 to 2 minutes. So you can stick around for those to see the screenshots. You can sort of get a better view of like the inside of the house and the outside of the house without me moving the camera all crazily and all over the place, because, you know, I'm trying to build. But anyway, so definitely stick around for those. You can check out my description down below for all of my Sims 4 playlists. So if there's any builds that you think you've possibly missed, that playlist is down there for your viewing pleasure, as well as the information to be able to download this off the gallery and my social media, so you can go find me on those. And thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Enjoy the music!